was 7 years old when I wrote my first vision statement. Of course, at that time, I didn't exactly understand that I was writing a vision statement. But at age 7, I decided that I was going to pack my bags, move out of the house when I was 15 years old, because 15 sounded really old at the time. And I was going to move to Hollywood, and I was going to be a famous actor. This was my plan. And I wrote this down on a yellow piece of paper. I can still visualize it. And I posted it on my bedroom door, and I announced to my family, that's what's going to happen. I'm leaving the house at age 15. And I was feeling pretty solid about that vision. Then, 15 came around. I was 15 years old, and I actually did pack my bags. I actually did move away from home. And I found myself in South Africa, of all places. And I was an exchange student for a year. And this is in 1986, in the heat of apartheid. Very intense time to be in South Africa. They were in a state of emergency. It was all over the news. Nelson Mandela was still in jail. It's actually amazing that my parents still allowed me to go. But my parents, fortunately, had a vision that this was going to be a great opportunity for me that I should not pass up. And I have to say, this was a life-changing experience for me. It got me really clear about my passion for social justice issues, and mostly about how important international education was. I wanted every young person to have the same experience. Because that year abroad, at 15, coming from my small town in Oregon, and seeing that there was a whole world out there, just absolutely blasted open my mind and just completely expanded my sense of possibility. And I realized, wow, I need to dream much, much bigger. Forget this Hollywood stuff. There is a world stage out there, and that's what I'm going to take on for the rest of my life. It was there in South Africa that I realized that for the rest of my life, I want to figure out a way to make a positive contribution to the world. I didn't exactly know how, but that's where the seed was planted for me, that I knew there was a lot of work to do in the world, and I wanted to be part of it. So fast forward many years, I continued to live abroad, and then I turned 30, I moved back to the United States, and I decided this is the time to really be courageous and take on my big, big vision. And what was that? My vision was I wanted to start an organization that would provide those same type of life-changing experiences, particularly abroad, for other young people. But I really wanted to do this for young people who historically had not had access to those opportunities. So particularly low-income minority youth. And the vision was that I would create this organization, we would teach foreign languages, we would give them leadership training, we would send them abroad, and that this would be a great opportunity to change the way we are educating our young people. So this is what I launched in 2002, OneWorld Now, the organization that I founded 12 years ago. And I gotta tell you, we're well known for what we do about sending young people abroad, but the secret sauce of what we're doing is actually our leadership training, which is all about vision, creating a vision for your life and making it happen. And that's what I want to share with you today. After working with all of these young people for the last 12 years, coaching them, mentoring them, and also taking on creating vision as a way of living my own life every day, out of this practice came about 7 best practices that have been a great guide for me to create my vision every single day and support the youth that I was working with. And I think that you will also find it useful. So that's what I want to share with you today. The first one, when you're talking about vision, and I mean big vision, meta vision, like doing the thing that you really, 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 really want to do in life, you gotta be bold. You gotta be bold. This is not like, I think I wanna, I don't know, do that little thing. This is that big thing, that big, bold dream that you have. So, when I was imagining to do OneWorld Now, I was almost scared to put that into my vision statement. It was almost too big. I thought, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't have the resources. I don't have the experience to do this. I have this vision, but I had no idea how I'm going to do it. I'm here to say, let go of how. Don't worry about the hows. When you're starting with your vision and you're putting your bold message out there, you just have to go for it. And don't let these other things, these stories in your head hold you back. In fact, I want to take a moment right now to take you through a quick vision exercise. I want you to take a minute and imagine, think about today's date. actually doing exactly what you wanted to do. You were with exactly the people you wanted to be with. And more importantly, you were actually feeling exactly how you wanted to be feeling. Can you imagine that? A year from now, just go into that space, connect with that feeling. All right, hold on to that. Is that a little seed? That's a little seed right now for your vision. Put that in your head right here. We're going to come back to that. So another thing that's really important once you've got that seed in your brain is you got to be intentional. What do we mean by this? What I mean is you got to get clear. You ask most people, what's your vision for your life? What do you want to create? What do you want to do in the world? And most people will tell you they're kind of wishy-washy. They're like, I don't know, I kind of want this, I kind of want that, I don't know, I didn't think about it, I'm not sure. That is this kind of the general answer of people. The thing is, asking for your vision and being intentional about that can be a really scary thing. Like I said, I actually waited until I was 30 to bust out with that OneWorld Now vision because I was a little bit afraid. Like, what if I said that I really wanted that? What if it didn't happen? I didn't want to fail. I didn't want to put something out there that I wasn't really going to do. And this is exactly the kind of thing that typically holds us back. But I'm here to say, put that aside. I'm telling you, after working with thousands of youth on this stuff is powerful. And if you don't go for it, then it's definitely not going to happen. This is the key. If you don't go for it, it's definitely not going to happen. You might be surprised it happens. Then you get your dreams. Hey, I think it's worth it. So being intentional is actually about just getting clear and saying, and choosing, saying, this is the thing that I want to happen. This is what I want to happen. I'm going to do whatever it takes. And then how to make this real? How to make all of this vision stuff and intentionality like tangible, real? One of the ways to make it real is to write it down. I know it sounds really simple, but I'm telling you, this stuff is powerful. Going back to vision statements. And I write a lot of vision statements. Again, these vision statements where you imagine yourself a year from now, 5 years from now. I encourage you to do this practice. We ask the OneWorld Now students to do this at the beginning of every school year. It's very powerful. We have them write a letter to themselves, dated a year in advance. And we say, imagine this was, again, the best year of your life. You were able to accomplish all the things that you wanted to accomplish. You were able to try and experience all the things that you really, really, really wanted to do. You were able to go out in the world and do all the things that you wanted to do. Just go with that. What might show up? And write about that. Write about the key thing too is how did you feel? How are you feeling in that happy space that you were, all of this stuff is happening? Very powerful stuff. I gotta tell you, I've written a gazillion of these statements, and I continue to be amazed and pleasantly surprised about how many of my visions, almost everything that I mentioned, eventually happens. It doesn't always happen on my timeline, but it definitely happens. The things that I am doing today, I wrote down in a vision like 3 years ago. It never ceases to amaze me. The other thing that's really powerful, especially if you're feeling kind of stuck about vision, set a date. This is very powerful. The thing about vision is, people like to talk about it kind of in the future out there. Like someday, I'm going to do this. So when it's out here, someday, guess what? It stays someday, and you get older, someday, it might come or it might not. But when you get really clear, you set a date, and you say, by this date, I'm going to make this happen, no matter what. It is amazing, even if that's scary, that's a very, trust me, I get it, that's a scary thought, to just kind of put a peg in the ground and say, no matter what, this is the date, I'm going to make this happen by this date. You can try a baby step and just say, I'm going to take whatever action towards my vision on this date. Or maybe you're feeling like really confused, you're weighing lots of big options that makes it feel like it's preventing you from your vision. Then why don't we set a date to say, I'm going to have clarity by this particular date. Whatever it is, I'm telling you, I promise you, the power of setting dates, things just kind of line up all around that. When you get really clear, it's about being intentional. When you get really clear about the date that you want to make something happen. I was super clear that no matter what, I was going to launch OneWorld Now, this social venture, in 2002. I got to tell you, definitely the most difficult thing I have ever done in my life. And absolutely the most rewarding thing that I've ever done in my life, and I'm so glad. But that started with the vision conversation, and it started with setting a date and putting that in the sand. So that's what I mean more by making it real. And talking about it, declaring your vision, telling people, again, I know it's scary, it's uncomfortable to say, for example, especially if that's the thing, most of us kind of keep those visions in our heads, like keep it quiet back there. And if it's quiet back here, it's always going to be quiet. Again, it's very powerful to just declare it and say, actually, I am planning to go to Thailand in December, thank you very much, for example, and what that does by declaring that, again, you're surprised. You find out, oh, I've been to Thailand too. Let me tell you who you should speak to, who you should meet. That things just tend to just start to line up, and you get really clear, and you get intentional, and then you set dates. So that's what I mean by making it real. The next practice is support it. What do we mean by that? Well, when you talk about support, usually people are thinking about other people. But I want to say, you got to start with yourself, listening to your own self-talk. Because this is something that's so important. I'm coaching myself every single morning. Have you ever listened to that monkey mind in your head that's saying all of these things? Usually that you can't do this, all the reasons why maybe this is not a good idea, all the reasons, all of that. This is you taking time to focus on listening to that and very intentionally encouraging yourself. The same way if you were talking to your best friend, to your love, to your brother, you would never say, you're not good enough, you can't do that, you're not ready, you're out of shape, it's not time for you to do this right now, you don't have enough money. You would never say that. But we say those things to ourselves. So that chatter, it's not going to stop. I really wish it was. I mean, I really wish I could just push a button. I got this chatter all the time. But now the difference is I just look at the chatter and I just choose a different thought. And this is what I really encourage you to bring awareness to your internal chatter and make sure that it is affirming you and supporting you. And the other thing is being really conscious about who you're surrounding yourself with. Have you got people, at least one person, that is really going to hold your vision, that is going to see you for your greatest possibility, and that when times get difficult, because they will, especially if you're going for a big, bold vision, I would imagine there's going to be some big moments out there. What are you going to do? You want to have at least one person who is reminding you, going back to that original vision, when you were dreaming about why this was important, and then encouraging you that you can do this. So support is really, really important. And this is one of my favorite phrases, hold the vision. And again, my friends, they're always teasing me about this because I'm always talking about, we got to hold the vision. I'm holding the vision for myself, I'm asking you to hold the vision for me, and I'm holding the vision for you. I'm holding the vision for probably about, 350 people right now, literally. And what this means is, when things get difficult, because again, you're going after your big, bold vision. If it was so simple, most people would do it. When you're going after your big, bold vision, there are times when you are going along in the path, obstacles appear, and things get really difficult, and at that moment you want to give up. In fact, most people do give up at that moment. That is why most people don't have their visions, because they get all excited about this thing that they want, and the road, they start following the road, they're sure this is how the road's going to look, and the road starts going this way, and they're like, oh, I did not sign up for that, I did not sign up for that, and then they give up. And I'm here to say, I wish someone had just told me, the road is never going to look like you think it's going to look. It's never going to look. How many times? It's not. Just get used to it, accept that, embrace that, and just be crystal clear about your final vision. That is the most important thing. And then do an experiment. I do experiments on myself all the time. It's very motivating. If this thing, this vision stuff seems like, whoa, that's too bold, like a year, I gotta wait a year, I gotta wait like 2 years, I say, do a baby step. Try it for a week. Try some of these steps that we've said, just for a week. See what happens when you get really crystal clear and intentional about this is what I want to create in my life in the next week. You might be surprised. I did this at OneWorld Now, and I specifically remember we had an abundance month because we really needed to raise some money fast, a lot of money fast, and we needed some miracles to happen. And I enrolled the whole staff in, this is the month of abundance. This is the experiment we're doing. And we were taking on all the best practices of creating abundance in our organization for that month. And sure enough, as these things do become materialized, when you positive self-talk, all of the things that we're saying, and really believing. And this shouldn't be hard. This is something obviously that you hopefully are very passionate about. This is something that you want. This is not my desire for you or your desire for me. This is vision. That's the beauty of vision. We all have our own visions. It came from you. You should listen to that voice. That's what's magical about it, is that there's a reason that it erupted from you. It's something in your life. Which brings me to the point that I want you to go back to that little seed that you planted in your head when we talked about being bold. Remembering that initial vision. That should be your inspiration. The beginning of the vision that you want to live for your life. And thinking about, again, how you want to feel when you have that vision, when all of that is happening. Don't wait till next year to feel that. Own it now. Own it now. And use these principles. You were being bold when you came up with this vision in the first place. And with that vision, get really intentional and start just choosing it. Say, this is what I'm choosing for my life. I'm going to do this. And I'm open to being surprised. That's really important. And I'm going to make it real. Go home and write about it. Write out a vision statement a year in advance. Write it in great detail. And make sure you got that sparkle in your eye. I love talking to people about their vision because they get a sparkle in their eye and really connect to the thing that they're passionate about. Set a date. Set a date. Like by this point, this is going to happen. By this point, that's going to happen. And trust me, I think you're going to be very pleasantly surprised. And make sure that you're talking to yourself in a very loving, supportive way. This is really important. And find support. You all know that the one or two people in your life that will support your big vision. And remember to hold that vision when times get difficult. Just trust me on this. You've got to let go of how it's going to look. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. You've got to believe it's going to happen, but you've got to let go of how it's going to look. Try and experiment, but most important, it's your vision, and you should own it. Thank you very much.